At this year's New York Comic-Con, the crew behind Mortal Kombat 2 showed up ready to throw punches, figuratively and probably literally, with a brand new teaser and a full-on presentation. The cast dropped some commentary. The production team, including the legendary Ed Boon, aka the man who gave us Finish Him, spilled a few beans, and of course, fans lost their collective minds faster than you can yell fatality. We're breaking down all the spicy highlights from that event right here. So grab your popcorn or your dragon-shaped nunchucks because things are about to get gloriously nerdy. Let's start with the hot stuff. Warner Bros. Just confirmed they're turning Mortal Kombat into a full-on trilogy. Yup, even though the second movie doesn't drop for another 7 months, they're already planning a round 3. Jeremy Slater, the guy who wrote the sequel script, confirmed that a third movie is officially in the works, and he'll be back to write it. He didn't share any plot details because apparently that's illegal now, but hinted that the ending of Mortal Kombat 2 will set the stage for what's next. Translation, prepare for another cliffhanger that'll haunt us for a year and a half. Meanwhile, director Simon McQuoid couldn't stop hyping up his own film, which to be fair is kind of his job. He said that every time he screens the sequel for someone, the reaction is pure jaw-dropping awesomeness. According to him, May managed to create the perfect summer blockbuster. In fact, that's one of the reasons for the movie's delay. Apparently it's just too darn good and needs the proper spotlight. Sounds impressive, but also, what else is the director supposed to say? Yeah, it's mid, but please buy a ticket anyway. Let's hope he's right and we really do get a sequel worthy of shouting flawless victory. But the real showstopper at Comic-Con was the exclusive footage shown to attendees. No, it's not online yet, but let's be real. That's only a matter of time before someone accidentally leaks it from their potato quality phone recording. The first Mortal Kombat movie did a solid job introducing new audiences to the franchise's wild universe, so expectations for the sequel are already sky high. During the presentation, the creators dropped one of the upcoming fight scenes, the first look at a showdown between two newcomers to the sequel, Johnny Cage and Baraka. Let's recap the scene real quick because honestly, it tells us a lot about the movie's tone. The scene kicks off with Liu Kang trying to convince Baraka to join Earthrealm's side in the upcoming tournament against Shao Kahn. Baraka, being his usual charming self, all teeth and bad attitude, basically says, "Nah bro, your realm's army looks like a bunch of toddlers with glow sticks." That's when Johnny Cage jumps in, doing what Johnny does best, running his mouth. He mocks Baraka in that trademark Hollywood jerk with the heart of gold way, trying to provoke a fight. The problem? Johnny's horribly unprepared for an actual deathmatch. Standing beside him are heavy hitters like Liu Kang, Sonya Blade, and Jax, who are already cracking jokes about how fast Cage is going to die. To make matters worse, Johnny hasn't unlocked his Arcana yet, meaning no fancy powers, no plot armor, just raw ego and abs. He starts the fight literally running circles around Baraka, dodging blows like he's in a Looney Tunes episode. Eventually, Baraka knocks him flat, and Johnny's sunglasses go flying in dramatic slow motion. Sonya shouts, "You're a director, so act!" Johnny grabs his shades, slides them on, and suddenly the man becomes a definition of cool. It's that moment we saw in the first trailer when he says, "It's showtime." Then he busts out a few flashy flips and, of course, lands the most iconic move in Mortal Kombat history, the nut punch. Yep, he goes straight for the family jewels, and the crowd apparently lost their collective minds. People in the hall reportedly erupted, not because of the brutality, but because that move is peak Johnny Cage energy. Hilarious, cocky, and still somehow effective. Fun fact, that move is a direct nod to Jean-Claude Van Damme's Bloodsport, the movie that inspired Johnny Cage's entire character. So yeah, it's poetic violence. Meanwhile, Carl Urban, who's playing Cage this time, talked about his version of the character. He described him as a washed-up, depressed action star, a guy who's basically been forgotten by Hollywood until Raiden and Sonya recruit him. According to the panel, that was an intentional choice. Instead of showing Cage at the top of his fame, they wanted to explore his comeback story. Translation, give him a real arc and make us care about the guy behind the sunglasses. Of course, everyone knows the real reason. They needed to make the role fit Carl Urban, who's not exactly in his 20s anymore. But honestly, it works. A slightly older, self-aware Johnny Cage with dad energy might actually be the perfect version of the character. So let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the jade in the room. Apparently, her portrayal has sparked more online arguments than a Reddit thread about pineapple on pizza. Yeah, fans aren't exactly thrilled. Most agree she kinda missed the mark on her character. On the brighter side, we learned a bit more about Kitana and her longtime friend slash bodyguard. Their storyline is shaping up to be one of the film's emotional centerpieces, and honestly, it sounds promising. Fun fact, the two actresses are actually good friends in real life, and previously worked together on Netflix's Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. So when it comes to on-screen chemistry, they've basically got the friendship DLC unlocked. According to early reactions, their bond feels genuinely believable and adds some much needed heart to all the spine-ripping chaos. Interestingly, the movie won't just be a non-stop tournament of people screaming and exploding each other's skulls, though there'll be plenty of that. Apparently, several characters will have side missions between major fights, like mini-quests that flesh out the world and their personal stories. No more awkward downtime where Earthrealm's champions just sit around sipping Gatorade and awaiting for the next round. Between Cage's journey to reclaim his confidence and Katana's emotional arc, it looks like Mortal Kombat 2 is trying to deliver more than just punchy visuals and fatality fanservice. It might actually have feelings. What the heck? Now, onto the spicy studio stuff. The movie's delay turned out to be good news, believe it or not. According to a report from Deadline, Warner Bros. Pushed the release because of the massive success of James Gunn's Superman, which pulled in a cool $600 million worldwide. Basically, WB's already bathing in profits for 2025, so they decided to move Mortal Kombat 2 to 2026, where it can be one of their headline releases instead of fighting for attention. In studio speak, that's a "we're so confident in this movie, we'll let it headline next year" move. Translation, they think it's gonna print money. And that's not all. 2026 is shaping up to be a wild year for fighting game movies because guess who's stepping into the ring? Yup, Street Fighter. The new adaptation was originally set to drop this October, but now it's been delayed exactly 1 year. So once again, we're getting a cinematic Mortal Kombat vs Street Fighter showdown, something fans have been arguing about since before half the audience was even born. For context, Street Fighter debuted in 1987, Mortal Kombat in 1992, and ever since then, it's been a decades-long battle for fighting game dominance. Now, the war continues, but this time on the big screen. Who will deliver the knockout blow at the box office? Guess we'll find out when 2026 rolls around. As for the new featurette they showed, it gave us a few fresh shots teasing the hero's upcoming journey, enough to make fans start overanalyzing every frame like they're solving the Da Vinci Code of uppercuts. Some of the new footage actually lines up with those mysterious Reddit leaks that have been floating around for months. Just a reminder, those came from early test screenings, so a few details, especially the ending, could still change in the final cut. But overall, the core story seems to be locked in, since no massive reshoots are planned for Mortal Kombat 2. The new clips show Shao Kahn brutally taking out King Jared, confirming one of the biggest rumors. That means the movie will open with the prologue set in Edenia, showing Khan's conquest, the fall of the royal family, and the tragic fate of Katana and her mother Sindel, who are forced under the Emperor's control. So yeah, we're starting this movie with some serious emotional damage. Next up, we meet Johnny Cage, who's reportedly getting the main spotlight this time. In the new shots, Johnny and Kano show up to visit Hanzo Hasashi, aka Scorpion, though here he's chilling in peaceful retirement mode, not dressed in his iconic armor. So it looks like this is a recruitment scene where the Earthrealm crew tries to bring him into the fight. The weird part? It's Cage and Kano doing the recruiting, not Cole Young, which would have made way more sense. And that's when one of the biggest leaks comes crashing back. Apparently, Cole Young dies at the very beginning of the movie. Yep, right out of the gate. His death supposedly sets the tone for the entire film and shows how insanely high the stakes are. And who kills him? None other than Shao Kahn himself. This time, Kahn isn't just a big bad sitting on a throne barking orders, he's a full-blown combat monster, personally stepping into the arena to crush Earthrealm's champions with extra spicy brutality. Even Liu Kang meets his fate at Khan's hands, though later in the film. Cole's death isn't pointless though. He apparently sacrifices himself to save Johnny Cage, giving Johnny the motivation to step up and take things seriously for once. By the finale, Cage teams up with Katana for a tag team battle against Shao Kahn. It's basically the Rocky Balboa meets Outworld apocalypse we didn't know we needed. But don't freak out just yet. Death in Mortal Kombat is about as permanent as a Wi-Fi connection at Comic-Con. The introduction of the Netherrealm means resurrection is officially on the table. Still, according to test screenings, Cole Young doesn't appear again after his early death, at least not in this cut. Meanwhile, Kung Lao makes a surprise return, not as himself but as a revenant, resurrected by Quan Chi. So it's not some Shang Tsung trickery this time, it's straight up necromancy shenanigans. The footage wraps up with a final scene dedicated to the fallen heroes, where Raiden vows to find Liu Kang's soul and bring him back. That apparently sets up the storyline for Mortal Kombat 3. So yeah, expect even more resurrected warriors, glowing eyes, and possibly the most over-the-top revenge arc since Sub-Zero discovered Frostbite. As for Scorpion and Noob Saibot, don't get too excited, their screen time is basically relegated to the last 15 minutes of the film. So if you were hoping for a full-on Flaming Ninja versus Shadow Assassin showdown, well, temper your expectations. Overall, this sequence actually makes sense within the story. The rest of the movie will get fleshed out through side quests and recruiting new fighters like Baraka. So while the plot isn't going to undergo any massive changes, everything we've seen so far, plus the leaks, gives us a pretty solid idea of the narrative trajectory. One interesting detail, defeating Shao Kahn, assuming he actually bites it, would eliminate the possibility of an outworld invasion. That means Mortal Kombat 3 will have to cook up a whole new threat, and our money's on Quan Chi stepping up as the main villain, slowly taking over the story. From there, the stage is basically set for some hand-chopping shenanigans, you know, the usual. With about 6 months to go until Mortal Kombat 2 hits theaters, the studio is clearly trying to keep fans hyped, so expect more details to leak or be officially revealed in the coming months. For example, we still haven't seen the full look for Quan Chi, who's likely going to play a major role not just in the sequel, but probably in the trilogy's conclusion. In the meantime, drop a comment below, or just scream into the void, your choice. Are you hyped by the fresh info on Mortal Kombat 2? And what do you think about the plans for part 3 of this fatality-packed cinematic saga?